And what's kicking my ninjas? Today we're back with back again once again with sort of like a discussion video, and I just kind of wanted to talk about this because this is like the hot topic in the community. I know I'm a little bit late to the party. I don't have any like flashy fancy capture card screen for you guys of or no like Yugi face crying thing or anything rather like random like that. I'm gonna give you guys something aesthetic to look at. This is not like a road to greatness, or this isn't something to talk about. This is actually, I'm going to do some cataloging as I'm flipping through and talking about this video. So you can like kind of look at some of my shit if you like. This is not what this is about though. This is about repositioning. Sorry. This is about the, if you guys haven't figured this out, yeah, I like to play devil's advocate a lot. And I think like I like to be not necessarily on the opposing side of the argument. Like, I'm the cool kid. I'm the guy who thinks differently from what everybody else thinks. I just like to talk. I like to debate, and I like to be on the opposing side of the argument because if everybody's on one side, if everybody's on the right, I want to be on the left and just kind of like see what I want to understand completely what it's about. And I keep my own personal sort of objective opinions to myself, and I'll expose those later after we subjectively speak about something and we just get to the bottom line or the nitty gritty of the whole topic, and then I'll expose exactly what I think about it and where I stand about it. So at the end of this video, I'll tell you exactly where I stand, but in the beginning, I want to talk about RIP Yu-Gi-Oh! If no net games, right? So I'm actually looking through for a few cards. I'm thinking about building some more decks, and just I'm going to do that while I'm talking about this. So basically, is the game going to die? Not Draco Face Off. Sorry, but is the game going to die without a net game? You know, that's kind of something difficult to tackle. That's kind of like something that I think that people are taking a little too far, maybe, because basically there's two ways to look at this, right? One is we've had the game long before net games existed, right? Long before those were like a big deal, like the esports, if you will, sort of like Magic Online or Moto for experienced like Magic players, or or before like Hearthstone or any of that kind of stuff. Like we've had like Yu-Gi-Oh as a game before any of that shit like took place. So people are kind of like, well, if we don't have like an online game, whatever will we do? Like, how will the game survive? And I'm just kind of, I'm going to talk about it from this angle. I think that maybe people need to kind of step back and just kind of take a breather for a second. We don't know Konami's plans for the future. We don't know what they have in store for us, and we don't know exactly if this is the end, right? First and foremost, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro still works. YGO Pro, Def Pro, those still work. So for all of you like who are DN aficionados, or like I only play on DN and that's it, I mean, you know, tough break. I don't play any of them. I don't like the interface that they give. I like Magic Online's interface. I like when all the things work for you. I don't mind paying for an online collection. Not that I have, you know, that dare disposable income or anything like that, but it's just that I don't mind paying for an online collection on specifically Magic Online, because there's online Pro Tour qualifiers, and if you don't know what that is, it's like that's like our version of more so like a bigger YCS. I don't know really like what. So Star City Games would be like an ARG, a Grand Prix would be like a YCS, and Pro Tours are the Feast de Resistance. I mean, there was a Nationals tournament for Magic. There is a Worlds tournament, so I can't really group those into that bracket, but I mean, Pro Tours are each worth, like, first place gets 40 grand. You know, they're worth a lot of money to the professional players and grinders. So they grind the hell out of the pro circuit every single year, and they're in the hunt and the run for platinum. But that's off topic. Basically, that's a reason why I don't mind paying for an online collection if Yu-Gi-Oh! Were to implement something like that. Like if there was like a greater pro circuit, or even if you can queue for like I guess you get a sponsored flight to the next YCS or to the next couple of YCSs or whatnot like that if you win X, Y, or Z tournaments on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Online sort of deal. And yes, it would have been easy for Konami to just purchase Dueling Network and not have, NAS go after them and attack them. I'm not saying that Konami had NAS do that. I'm just saying that there's no way that the parent company doesn't have something to do when its baby is involved in this, right? I mean, let's be honest here. Let's keep it real. So, with that being said, just basically, it's just kind of like, okay, I only got 2 of these. I need more. Well, actually, no, that's gonna get banned. But anyway, like, there's no way that's not happening. But that's my own personal opinion. I said I was going to leave that for later. Now, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about the aftermath. The aftermath is that there's no longer any Dueling Network currently. So, tough shit. Just do what we did prior to this. Play with your friends. Play at locals. There's no sort of online interface to use, so you're gonna have to get a little creative. I mean, and you're gonna have to do a lot of theory crafting and a lot of more research on your own, like a lot more listening to YouTube and a lot more looking out for video feed. And I think it's more important now, more than ever, that YouTubers are on their shit. They're all about their information. They're getting their information out to the public. They're keeping it consistent. I think that's more important than ever now, because we're gonna have to go back to the old ways of research until further notice. You have to go back to where you looked on YouTube for all of your next step information. What's happening at events, what's gonna happen next, and you trusted your playtest groups. And I think that's something that the game needed. The game needs to get back to playtest groups and needs to have more players interacting with their local tournaments and their local, stores. And if you don't have a locals near you, that is unfortunate, but you don't play Yu-Gi-Oh by yourself, right? So if you've got friends that you play Yu-Gi-Oh with, this is the time where it's more important, to where you need to be out there testing with your friends one-on-one consistently. If you're planning to go to major events, I mean, there's no way you just only use DN for your major events testing, because if you do, I mean, I just don't think that's ever going to win you an event, only using DN. I mean, because then you're only testing with some of the best on DN, which you could just test with them in real life, unless you don't live close to them, which means, hey, you need to help raise your friend's skill cap. Now, that's a topic for a completely different discussion. But now, moving forward, I'm going to say this. I think that we've been jaded a little bit, and that we're a little spoiled right now, as a whole, as a community, as a group, as an entirety. And I think that the entire entity of the community needs to band together as a band of brothers and say, hey, we're going to work this out. We're going to figure this out. Because I don't have much faith or trust in Konami, I'll be honest. I think it's a very shady company. I think that they'll do whatever it takes to make a buck. And I mean, that's just me. That's my personal viewpoint of them. I could be wrong. But with that, I mean, that's the taste that they've left in my mouth. Not after specifically just this. It's just the entirety of how the game's shaken out just over the course of years, with the rarity bumps and the not releasing cards when they're supposed to be released, or, dividing lists up. And I mean, that there's just no consistency with this company. So I don't have much faith in them. But I do think that they can improve. And I do think that I think that their heart is, usually their intentions are in the right place. It's just that the path to self-destruction is paved with good intentions, right? So, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. Now, also saying that, are you really going to quit the game because you can't play online? I mean, is that a thing? Because if you were only playing online, then you weren't invested in real cards anyway. No one is going to make that first move to trash their investment just off the basis that they can't play online anymore. I mean, your online investment wasn't equity. Your online investment was nothing. You invested $0 into your online play experience, and that's something that you've got to also take into consideration here, because there is money involved in this. And yes, I feel like it was a smarter business move financially for Konami to keep things like DN around, or maybe invest into them financially. But that's yet again, that's not something that they were willing to do. So they made the move that they felt was best for their company, aka through NAS. Now, my standpoint is that I think the game will thrive. I think the game will do just fine. They're going to release more cards, and like lambs to the slaughter, we're going to buy them. I mean, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way this thing works out. That's just the way it all shakes. I think that it's a shocker right now, and people are frustrated and people are angry, as they rightfully should be. I do think that it's correct that people are, spouting out, and, especially Konami's not making good moves by, on their live stream, banning people for, speaking about this, or they want their ideas to be heard. Yes, it may not have been in the correct spot at the time. There is a time and place for everything, and I do think some people were taking it just a little bit too far, but that's, you get what you get out what you put in. And Konami has angered their player base, and they owe us an answer. They owe us, as loyal fans to their brand, they owe us an explanation. And they're not giving us one yet, and they haven't given us one yet. Even if they didn't do it, you saying, oh, we didn't do this, and you continually pushing it away, that's not building any trust, and that's not building any relationship between your players, and that's not good. Look at Magic's PR. Helen did a hell of a job at explaining the changes to the Pro Club immediately after it happened. So, I mean, that's something that builds trust in a company. Even if you make a bad bonehead move, you have to be, as a company, willing to take the hit, take that blow to the chin, wipe it all off, and say, hey, look, we fucked up. Here's our response to this. We hope we don't lose players over this. We understand if we do, but this is what we're going to do moving forward. And that's a huge missed opportunity that Konami is having right now. So they need to, I think, first start chopping heads in their PR groups, because they're not very good. Number two, they really need to invest into an esports, because that's the direction that gaming is headed in. And number three, I think the community needs to step back and chill a little bit and kind of bring the brass down, and let's all act like adults here. This isn't the end of the game as we know it. I'll just be honest here. The game there's been a lot bigger blows to the game financially. Maybe not in the abstract like this one is. This is a very steep blow to the game, and I'm not going to undermine this at all. And I'm not going to undermine the player base. The player base is correct to be outraged. I do think that's 100% called for. However, it's not the outrage that makes you. It's how you act when you're outraged. It's how you present yourself when you're pissed off. And if we keep presenting ourselves as baboons to this situation, we're never going to get what we want out of Konami. We have to hit them where it matters the most, in their pockets. And we have to let them know as players, hey, if you're not going to give us what we want, we're not going to give you what you want. I'm not saying let's boycott the next YCS. Everyone wants to be a YCS champion. That's not going to happen. But there is a way. And if you guys want to hear more about that, leave thumbs ups. I'd love to keep this conversation going. I want to share this on like Zodiac or something like that. And like, I want to get more YugiTubers involved in this. And I want to see not necessarily what everybody thinks about it, because we know what everybody thinks about it. But let's start talking about, as a community, what's a solution to our problems now? Right now, not in the future. I want to know right now, what's a solution to our problems as a community, as Yu-Gi-Oh players? And maybe Konami will listen to that. Maybe they'll see one of our videos and maybe they'll go, hey, that's a good idea. Let's get to work on that. Let's invest some resources in this, and let's get something moving on this. So remember, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you want more content, come on back to my channel, and as always, keep it kicking, my ninjas. This is Eijo YUGIOH. Peace.